On today's episode, we're installing our wall-to-ceiling supports on this medium roof 148 long body. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Matt here for AVC and welcome back to the shop. As we said in the intro, today we're going to be installing our wall-to-ceiling supports. Now this is a product we've been using for a long time, and this is kind of an update video for an existing product. We've made some changes throughout the years, so let's jump right to it and take a look. Before we get started, it's good to explain the updates we've made to our wall-to-ceiling supports. So we now offer our wall-to-ceiling support in two different lengths. We offer a 75-inch length for your extended vans to make up that extra distance at the back of the van, and we offer a 60-inch, which is going to work for all of your long body 130s and 148s. Today's install is going to be on a medium roof long body 148 van, which means it's kind of that most common size, the not extended, so we're only going to be installing the 60-inch pieces today. Before we get these installed, I wanted to talk about the dimensions of these units here. So there is a 2-inch leg and a 3-inch leg, and when we line these up to the ceiling, we're going to align the end of the 3-inch leg to this little line right here in the roof rib. And there's a nice flat dimple here, and right where that transition goes smooth up to the rest of the roof rib here, there's just a line here, and we emphasize it in red. So we put a red Sharpie on here just so we can see it on camera. And that's the point where we're gonna line this wall-to-ceiling support up to. So we're gonna take our 3-inch leg, and that's gonna go against our ceiling roof ribs here. So it's gonna line up right here. We're just gonna line up this edge with that line right there. That leaves us just enough gap for the wiring harness behind the wall, so we don't have to relocate that wiring harness. But we're not going to lose a lot of room here unnecessarily. Now, when it comes front back, let's take a look up front here. So in a medium roof, there's not a ton of curvature here, so we can actually slide this a little bit further forward to this hole. This is going to be in front of the blob if you don't cut your blob, but we always cut those back. So we can line this up just about with this hole. It doesn't have to be perfect. The critical dimension is going to be lining it up to this red line here. Now, if I'm going to error in one way or another, I want to go tighter to the wall and give myself a little bit more room here. Otherwise, if I overlap this and I'm a little bit too far into the van, my ceiling isn't going to fit because it's going to be too tight between the wall-to-ceiling supports. So to get this installed, we're just going to hold it up here on the roof. We're going to line it up with our red line, and we're going to error just inside of that. And I'm just going to put one screw here at the front to start, and then we'll line things up at the back before we lock it in. Okay. There's one there. Okay, so that's in there. I'm just going to leave 2 screws in it for now. Let's go ahead and put up the rear section. So my rear section is going to go up just the same way. I still line up to this spot here. I'm going to have a pretty significant overlap in a 148. So you can see here, we have about 12 inches of overlap here, and that is totally fine. It doesn't matter, we're just going to screw these together. But what I want to do is look here at the back of the van, and I want about 4 inches of space here just for this wiring harness. We don't want to get too close to it or too crowded. Again, it doesn't matter how far we're going forward, backwards here. As long as we're not crowding this at the back, then we're going to be fine. Okay, I'm going to line up to my holes here and up here. This looks good. Okay, one screw. And we can kind of check everything. Make sure I got plenty of room for my wiring harness here. So before we set more screws in this, let's go ahead and lock the rear and the front together. And we're just going to put a screw out here close to the edges. I don't want it in the middle, because if it's close to that bend, we might see the screw when we put our walls and our ceiling in, because we might have a little gap here. But if it's out here at the end, it's not going to be an issue. So I'm going to just hold these tight together, screw them in, and we're good to go. Now, do be careful. These are just, sheared aluminum panels, so they might have a sharp edge on them. We're trying to keep the cost as low as possible. If we go through these things, sand them, deburr them, everything like that, we're going to have to charge $30 more for them. And I'd rather save you some money. So just be mindful when you're putting these screws in, and don't slide your hands along the edges because you might cut yourself. Okay, one right here in the middle. I'm just looking behind here to see where I'm not going to get close to that wiring harness, and this is going to be just fine. Okay, with those 3 screws in place, these are locked together. I can double check everything along this. Everything looks really good. My front to back looks good too. Now in a high roof, you can actually put this all the way to the back of the van, or back of this front rib, because your ceiling is going to dive at this point down. And so a bunch of extra wall-to-ceiling support at the front of the van is doing nothing for you. So it's just a waste of material. You can shift all those towards the back of the van. It's gonna be totally fine. All right, there we go. Our driver's side installed. Let's go ahead and switch over to the passenger side and we'll look at the differences. Now, if you're installing these wall-to-ceiling supports in a high roof, the process on the passenger side is exactly the same as the driver's side. You line everything up to this line right here. The ceiling panels are symmetrical, so it doesn't matter. On the medium roof vans, things are a little bit different, and so we're actually gonna slam this wall-to-ceiling support tight to the passenger wall, and we're gonna limit out on these little bumps right here. So I'm just gonna put it against the roof rib, and I'm just gonna push it until it hits the wall over here. And that's gonna be my limiting factor. The reason we do that is there's not enough room to upholster this panel or put a panel over here. And so we wanna upholster this as one complete unit. So we want everything tight on this side as possible. This section in the Ford Transit is hardened steel, so we can't put a screw here, and putting a wall panel here is really problematic, and it only shows about this much, so it's kind of worthless. So the way we do this is we install these here, we push them tight to the wall, and then we're just gonna slide this forward, and it's actually gonna get really close to the wall up front as well. Okay, and that's just gonna make upholstering this all as one piece really easy. So I can screw this into place here. I can put some foam, like usually we'll use 1/2 inch XPS foam, but anything you have around, just fill this gap, and then we can just fabric all of this together as one unit, and it's gonna look super clean once we put our wall panels up. Other than that, the process is exactly the same. So we're just gonna put it against the roof rib, we're gonna slam it against the wall, we're gonna hold it in place, and we're just gonna set it with a couple of screws to start. With one screw in there, that's gonna hold it in place. Make sure everything is tight over here. Okay, so we're good there. Now let's go ahead and get the back section in. So back section is gonna be just the same. Push it tight to my walls here. Then I'm noticing that my wiring harness here is a little bit closer. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit more room back here. I'm give myself 4 inches maybe, just so that this can easily pass through this hole here, and I'm not gonna crowd the wiring harness. Don't wanna pinch anything here. The wall panels are gonna bridge over the top of this just fine, but we just need this out of the way. With these last screws in place, this install is complete and we're ready to continue on with our upholstery work. So we always just put our wall upholstery in this section. That way if there's a little gap between your wall and your ceiling, you're just gonna see that upholstered section behind it, and it's gonna look super clean. Here on the passenger side, we're gonna upholster from this all the way down and around this pillar the best we can. So you're gonna fill that up kind of like we mentioned earlier. That is it for this episode. If you have questions about this process, hit us up in the comments below. If you want to order a wall-to-ceiling support for yourself, there's a link in the description. And if you want to get a van professionally built by AVC, there is a link for that as well. If you learned something today, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.